We're live and ready.
Yeah, just a couple more seconds. Yeah. All right, that's good enough. Welcome, everyone. This is the regular monthly board meeting for the Tioga County Industrial Development Agency. It is Wednesday, November 1st, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. The meeting is hereby called to order. Christine, could I have a roll call, please?
Jen Ceccarelli.
Yes.
Kevin Gillette.
Sure.
Mark Stabright.
Here.
Eric Knowles.
Yes.
Mary Townsend.
Yes. Thank you. First this evening, we have privilege of the floor. What's that?
Sounds like it might still be looping a bit.
Okay, that's all right. We have Rick Pedro as our guest tonight, Town of Owego Assessor, to give us a briefing on, I'm not sure, something about pilots for solar.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the accommodation on the schedule.
No problem.
So as you know, a lot of solars come up here. All right. The just a little background on it. When the solars came out, what we were looking at is about $1 million a meg for accessible value, and then applying the equalization rate to that. So if it was 50%, it would be 500,000 per meg. The state got involved, changing the way real property was assessed at the solar. And they came up with an algorithm, Excel algorithm, that said we have to use that. And they said you have to use the cap rate, the lease rate, the megs, and so on and so forth. But what conveniently or inconveniently they didn't do is, in real property law, they did not mandate the solar company or representatives to tell us what those numbers are. So we were in the dark. And our understanding is even legal counsel at the state wasn't aware of that. So we would ask, what's the lease payment? We don't have to give you that. So a restraining order was put on the way the property was assessed on it for about a year and a half, so we could go back to the million a meg. And then what happened, instead of going through the legal steps, if you will, the governor put it into her budget last year and said, as part of the budget, you have to use this algorithm. And what happens in the algorithm is that we have to basically accept what they give us as the numbers. And we know they're doing 5 meg, they're producing 6.5, with the batteries and the storage. But the algorithm decreases the value of the assessment every year. And this is where Lee and I, we get talking on it. So if you take a look at the pilot payments, which tend to be increasing in nature, which they should be, solar companies have a lot of capital to invest. There's going to be a point where the amount collected on the pilot payment is going to be more than what the tax rate would be on the assessable value for that year. Now, from a legal standpoint, I don't know where that goes. I just know that my understanding is you can't collect more than what the tax rate is on pilot. So I kind of raised the flag to Leanne and Don. We've talked about it. And there's a couple different ways that I'm thinking, what could be a solution on it. And the first one is administrative fees. They're not counted as part of the payment towards, the configuration of the taxes. Another way is there's a town in Glenville, New York that collects $15,000 per acre that solar uses up. And it goes to the parks. So they're saying if you're taking 10 acres away, that's $150,000. It's going to go to invest in what's remaining of the green space around. And I guess I had a conversation with the assessor up there. He said it's gone very well up there. And there's no balking or anything from the solar companies on it. So that's another way. Decommissioning fees, which is way out of my lane, but I know that there's no limitations on that. There's a lot of negotiations on it as well. And then one of the last issues that I was looking at as far as, offsetting that or stepping away from potential legal issues. Most of the solars are developing in agricultural farmers' fields. And most of them have exemptions out for the agricultural. And the state allows counties, municipalities to do what's called a conversion. And if the land ceases to be used as agricultural, then whoever starts the new purpose for the land, they have to pay 5 years of the back taxes plus 6% penalty compounded annually. I think there's a minimum fee that can be put in there as well, administrative. And I think that's something that we should be looking at all the time. And that doesn't apply if the family's children decide that the land is going to be idle. It won't apply if it's a government issue, preservation land. But I think it's something that should be collected on it as well, and it could be significant. It would also apply for subdivisions, but that's neither here nor there. Somebody who's going to develop on it. The biggest thing is that we're in the dark. We can't get the state to change the law that mandates what those numbers are, the cap rates, the production rates, and so on and so forth. Depreciation keeps decreasing every year, and we're going to reach a cross point where, wherever it goes, that's kind of your lane in there. Another school of thought is, hey, the agreement's the agreement. They signed it, they knew it. Keep going. But I wanted to bring you in on that. I don't think there's any, again, as I had said, limitation on administration fees, on usage of fees for land that's now less. A couple solar companies around the state are literally building their panels 12 feet off the ground so they can still grow potatoes underneath and say it's still using for ag, which is kind of unique. That's more Orange County area, but that's the biggest issue. I think what we get as pilot payments is still low in comparison to the production that they get. And I think there's other ways it's going to have to be collected on it to give up the amount of land that we do for them. Any questions?
What's the impact to those pilots that are already in place? So you'll have to, even though the pilot's already in place, you'll have to now apply this new way of calculating the value on it. And
so I brought just a couple examples. Gaskill Road. We had it in at 2 million in 20 and 21. Then we had to drop it to 1.5 million in 22. And now it's 618,862.
based on the new calculation way of
Yeah,
calculating.
and we have no control over that. Who knows what's going to happen? If they're going to change, not change. I don't think they're going to, because they fought tooth and nail on this. And the issue is all real property should be assessed the same way. And it isn't. And that's why the restraining order kicked in. But if you look at Gaskill's, say it's 20,000 payment, 600,000 is 600 times a combined rate of 50. What's that? 30,000.
Okay.
600 times 6,000 times 30,000. You got some issues. All right, but I don't know the impact legally what's going to happen. I just know this is what we're stuck at now. And I think if we position ourselves to be able to get the revenue that we should get for what the land is being given up for, then I think we can avoid a lot of legal trouble potentially down the road, when we're 8 years down the road and they're like, hey, we're not going to pay anymore. We're going to walk out.
So really probably what we're looking at is restructuring existing pilot
Mhm.
schedules.
Administrative
Agreements.
decommissioning. Yeah, you can max out with a 2% escalator in there. You can, I mean, even if you use 2% of the tax rate, we know what it's going to be, but we don't control what that assessed value is going to be every year. Now we can play the numbers and we can model them out, but we still don't know. And what happens is they'll send me grievance every year and they're like, the first year we did it, we just put them in without representation and said no. And then the restraining order came in conveniently just before the tentative roll. I think it was March or April of this year. So we were stuck on that. And then we received 2 or 3 pieces of paper that said, we're grieving this. We're going to take you to court. This is the assessment. Here's our model. Show us yours. I'm like, but I don't have any numbers because they're not bound by law to give it to us.
So what's the benefit then to continue with a pilot agreement? Why wouldn't they just not look for a pilot agreement and come in and build and pay what it is?
A lot of
I mean,
municipalities don't have pilots.
So why are they, would a solar company even look to negotiate a pilot if ultimately they're gonna end up paying significantly less than if they enter into a pilot?
If they're here. If they don't pull out by then.
They sound to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they roll
but
over and roll over.
if this is what's happening, I don't know why a solar, it's not loud. I don't know why a solar company would even look to negotiate a pilot.
Exactly.
With the IDA, the sales tax exemptions, they're big.
Yeah, but then these are
But
town pilots,
towns, let's see.
so they don't get that.
Who's responsible for the solar farm on Day Hollow?
It's Delaware Solar.
Okay.
Oh, that's DeVita, isn't it? Yeah, that's UE. That's gonna be even interesting because their combined rate is about
Right, we just saw that.
46 and yeah, that's a lot. Their combined rate's about 65 or 66 per thousand.
Yeah.
Generally. Most of their investment is covered, they're getting like a nickel a watt. They're storing more up 20% with the batteries on it, still putting it in at, 4.9, kind of, prevailing wage issue. And they're getting 30 to 40% covered by the federal government, not to mention the benefits they're getting back to the state. And my understanding with a lot of courses that we've taken, just interaction and just soft intel, they haven't made. There really there's not a lot of outlay on it. And whatever they can get for less, they do.
Because what I was thinking initially was, well, okay, so admin fees are permissible to charge.
Sure.
So you restructure the agreement to follow the assessed value and put in a sliding scale on the annual administrative fee to get to that number that we need it to be. But why would they negotiate for that? They could just take this and not do that.
Mhm. Maybe they're not planning to be here long term. Maybe they're planning to sell it somewhere else, anything else, somebody else, inherits it out.
And I think that's a bigger part of the play is they sell.
Mhm.
They're gonna be, it's gonna be like a mortgage issue. They're gonna get bounced around, grouped up, resold. Where they end up, nobody knows.
So
That's part of it.
the state forces NICEAG to pay a premium for the input of the energy. So well, corporations don't pay taxes. They just kick it back to us. So that's why a lot of the energy bills, when they're trying to diversify the portfolio of energy, that's why the traditional is going up all the time, because the state's actually supplementing, forcing NICEAG to pay a premium on it, and they have to pass that cost along to us as well. So it's a really convoluted, kind of interesting process. It's there's a lot of different terms for it, but I think it's something that we should be prepared for. Before we get to that point where I receive something, I have to accept it, and then the next day we get a letter that says, "Hey, we're suing you for violation of a pilot agreement."
Mhm.
But right now, as it stands, that's where we're stuck. Now I can get models to you that says, it's going to cross in the 8th year and so on and so forth, but I can only use, it's kind of like an election poll. It's true today, but the election isn't today. We never know what's going to happen. So that's it.
Question, you
Great
mentioned,
information. Thanks for sharing. We're so happy.
Yeah, you're welcome. I bet you are.
I got a question on, you mentioned the change from ag, what do they change it to, commercial if they change it from ag?
Well, so if whether it's in an agricultural district or whether it isn't, if the land is used for agricultural purposes, cash crop, and they qualify for the exemption, they're getting that exemption. If the land starts to be used for any other purpose than agricultural, a conversion should occur. And it's a penalty, that's basically. So if it's in an ag district, it would be a 5-year penalty, compound 6%, and plus fees, whatever is decided.
But what is the penalty? What's the multiplier on the penalty if it's in an ag district? I mean, the ag property is not paying squat in taxes. What does it revert to?
Well, it would revert back to what the value of the exemption saved them in taxes. It can be quite significant.
Okay,
If it's a non-ag district, and I have the calculation, there's some other factors and drivers in it. If it's a non-ag district that was getting the ag exemption, it's an 8-year conversion. So I think no matter what, solar company comes in and somebody starts leasing the land to them, we should do the conversion. And the only reason this came up, I had a solar company call me and they're like, "Do we have to pay the penalty if we build panels?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm. Why would you pay a penalty if you're just coming in to do it?" And then I started doing the research on it. As it turned out, the land was being used for motocross, 4-way, and growing weeds. So the exemptions were removed. But so they know it's coming. And we should do it.
One thing to remember, a lot of the taxes are paid by the farmers who own the land. And if they didn't make that agreement with the solar company to be responsible to pay it, then they'd be the one penalized, our local farmers. bills
Yeah, they
would
usually
go up.
split it out so they can apportion. So they can say, we have, 100 acres, 50's going to the solar company, 50's going here, the farmers here, you have an agreement. It's not our responsibility to do the farmers' due diligence, okay? And when they're running through the fields chasing down the farmers saying, we'll give you $1,000 an acre for a lease. Oh, no, that's not, about 1,200. They have to cross their T's and dot their I's on that as well. And same situation with cell towers, but it tends to be a little more, doesn't get into as much squabble on who's responsible. The biggest thing solar companies aren't responsible for, or they have to pay the fire tax. And the lawyer came out and told me, he goes, fire tax is too high. That's why we're grieving it. And then as it turned out, that was the fire at Rudy's. But that's, whatever that rate is, 354, 356, something like that. So yeah, I mean, they should be diligent on it. They shouldn't be taking the money without doing the background on it.
So maybe we could send a letter out to the people that potentially can have ag exemption people and explain to them, if you enter into this agreement, this is what you're gonna be responsible for, so at least gives them a heads up, we did some kind of social responsibility there. Knowing that'd be a bad idea.
We could do it because we can pull the report with all the eggs on it. But what happens a lot of times is we'll just get an easement come through on it. We're like, uh-oh, where's this? Oh, 50 acres over here, and then a split comes through, and then all of a sudden, they contact, planning and zoning, so.
Well, why don't we look into that?
Okay, sure.
Elaine can probably help you with that, as far as identifying those properties that are in the ag district. Or Brian.
Yeah, either or, because somebody can pull an ag exemption if they're not in the ag district. And if they have enough acreage on it, solar company will come in and do whatever they want to do.
I know that with our 20 megawatt, with Sunny Valley Solar,
That Montrose?
the company leased land, and the tenant would still be responsible to pay their regular land taxes. That wasn't going to change. It sounds like if we penalize the portion of their property, take away their ag, that owner, at least in that instance, would be the one stuck with it.
Well, if he's not producing anything, he's chosen. And I'm all for the ag. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the ones who qualify for it and deserve the exemption as well. But if he chooses to, have the land as an income derived from somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah, they might not make as much as they thought they would.
and a lot of them just sign the first day. Oh, that sounds great.
I'm wondering how you dig up potatoes under solar panels.
Well, you gotta be under 12 feet tall.
Yeah, right.
That's, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're Orange County and all that with it.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, they're growing. They got the light in between it.
Yeah, I guess,
Um,
okay.
I like the idea that Glenville gets for every acre across, they get 15-20,000 on it. If you take away this much from, the area, then we have that investment to make the rest of it even nicer. And I think that's kind of a good way to offset the potential that might occur here.
Any questions for Rick?
No, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much for coming tonight.
You're welcome. Take care. Thank you again for the accommodation on schedule. I appreciate it.
No problem at all.
All right, take care. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
You know what I mean, right?
Unless you want to stay. I mean, come on, Don.
I'd love to, when I have another meeting at 6.
Thanks for coming.
No problem, I just want to make sure that you.
You know what, Brett, we're gonna get you up next, so you don't have to stay either. How's that? What did you say? Brett's gonna give a ERI update.
Sure.
Thank you. You want?
Yeah.
quick. I just brought pictures too. I don't know, we talk about these projects all the time, and I don't know if everyone's really seen.
Pictures are good.
Yeah, so I just brought before and after pictures. There's 3 different projects in here. You guys, thank you. I didn't want to waste ink, so.
That's okay, we'll share.
Yeah. But these are just 3 of our projects that are completed or just about completed, so you guys can take a look at them. But basically, I think most of you know, ED&P, we're currently administering 15 projects under the IDA's multi-site program, with homes and community renewal. So we have 11 original projects, which if you get into the packet, you can see the status of them and where they're all at. 4 of them have been completed. We have another, or of those 4, 3 of them we're finalizing their reimbursement process. We have another 3 that are nearing completion. We're thinking they're going to be done the first quarter of 2024, and we'll be able to reimburse those. And then the 4 remaining original projects, they're kind of in various stages. Some of them are moving a little bit slower, but we're doing our best to keep them going and being productive. So we're aiming for June of 2024 for those couple. And then you guys will remember in December of 2022, the IDA agreed to take on reallocated DRI funds, a little over about 470,000, a little more than that. So we had to do a call for new projects. So we took on 4 new projects in March of 2023. Those ones are moving along really, really well. We have one that's already nearing completion, a facade project. We have another 2 that are under construction, and then we have a 4th one that's going to be starting in the spring. So again, we're aiming for June. It probably will end up being a little bit longer than that. The IDA's grant agreement with the Housing Trust Fund Corporation is going to expire in December of this year. So we're going to be asking for a 6-month extension to June. We probably will have to extend that another 3 to 6 months longer than that, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So just of our business development projects, the Parkview is complete. We're just waiting for reimbursement. We're working on reimbursement for them. Home Central and Sheer Paradise are complete. And we're almost there with the Sellers project as well in Tioga. And then 5355 North Ave, I don't know if you guys have seen the exterior facade improvements, but they've been doing a lot of work. They're about halfway through their project. The one that's kind of lagging is the 3741 Lake Street. They just started, what, 2 days ago, Megan? Yeah. So we're getting there on that one. So those are our business development projects. Most of them are doing pretty well. And we have a couple lagging on our facade projects as well, but you know, we're keeping them moving, still aiming for June of 2024. So I don't know if you guys have any specific questions on any of the projects. I didn't want to get in too deep.
What are you doing at the Antique Center besides the mural?
So the mural is not going to be part of the DRI. They have their own funding for that. That's one of the ones that we're kind of lagging on a little bit. We've worked with them to redevelop the scope again. They're looking to, it's not, they don't have a huge grant award. I think they have like 29,000. They have to provide a 50% match. So right now we're looking at helping them replace all of their exterior doors and redoing some of their entryways. And that probably will cover most of what they have.
No intention of taking the JJ Newberry sign down.
Not with the DRI. No.
I don't know. Never do.
Yeah, I don't know what they intend otherwise, but no.
It's like historic. I would hope that they never
Yeah. But the new DRI projects at 130 Temple Street, Bruce Nelson's doing that one. That's moving along really well. He's already doing demolition there. I think he has like weekly site visits that people can go in and take a look at it. Kathy's Cakes at 187 Main Street. They just started asbestos removal. So they're starting to move on that one as well. It's a really good project. So yeah.
What you can see that's so obvious to me is progress everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. They're all kind of blending together the
They are,
DRI, the
But
restore,
it's
but the
significant.
impact.
It's
Yeah,
very noticeable and it's great.
I know I mentioned this last time I was here too on this. We're still trying to hit the MWBE goals for this program. We're doing all right now, but it just depends on where our couple of new projects, whether they're able to meet the goals or not. So in the end, we might have to apply for a waiver request, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we're continuing to try to utilize MWBEs and meet that goal if at all possible, so.
Thank you so much, Brett. Any questions for Brett? No?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All righty, I think we can get on with our meeting at this point, and I will entertain a motion to approve the October 4th regular meeting minutes and the loan committee minutes from October 23rd. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the financials, I didn't have time to look at them. If there are anything you need to report, and John's not here, so.
The great news on the financials this month is we received the ESP 350,000 for the water.
Okay, great, nice,
So
bravo. I will seek a motion to acknowledge the financials, please.
So did John look at these?
I didn't talk to him today.
Okay,
I have not had any opportunity either.
so I think we should postpone it until we get a chance to look at.
Any reason why that's a problem? Shouldn't be.
I'll entertain a motion to table, acknowledging the financials until next month.
Yeah.
Or we could probably do an email vote once John reviews them. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. What's next?
Next up, we have Lee and Timmy sharing a New York Southern Tier presentation. Let me clear my screen. Eric, can you see?
I see the, I just see the minutes.
You
of
do.
The agenda rather.
Okay, thank you. Now? Do you?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so instead of an EDP update, I asked Christine if I could have a few minutes to talk with you all about a different request. So this is having to do with New York Southern Tier Clean Energy and Clean Tech Strategy. So first I'd like to talk to you a little bit about who we're dealing with here. First, New Energy New York. New Energy New York is a 16-member coalition that is looking to establish a domestic supply chain for lithium-based batteries and the associated possibilities around the lithium-based batteries industry. It's spearheaded by Binghamton University and the New York Battery and Energy Storage Technologies Consortium. And the goal of the coalition is to be a national leader in battery research, manufacturing, and distribution. I don't know if you all happen to see it, but there was a recent announcement. Wait a minute, that's my next slide, so never mind. Southern Tier Partners are the group that has gotten together and has proposed a plan. Southern Tier Partners are the economic development organizations across our 8-county Southern Tier region, which includes Broome, Chemung, Shenango, Delaware, Schuyler, Steuben, Tioga, and Tompkins County, as well as Binghamton University, NYSEG, and NYSERDA. And this particular partnership right now is being led by the Steuben County IDA and the agency in partnership. So basically what happened is, at an Economic Development Council, Jamie Johnson from Steuben County and Stacy Duncan from Broome County kind of had an offline conversation about what's happening with New Energy New York, and recognizing that there is a real potential for opportunities across the region, not just around what's going on at Binghamton University. So there's been a recent announcement from New Energy New York that they received the Regional Tech Hub destination or designation. And this is a federal government designated the New Energy New York project at Binghamton University for hub battery innovation. And so basically it's a very prestigious award. There's a lot of money associated with this. It's one of 31 tech hubs across the nation to earn the designation out of 400 applications. And it is the only awardee that is centered around the battery industry. So this was a significant win for New Energy New York. There will be a lot of money put toward this particular technology and advancement of this technology. So that being said, you know, the Southern Tier Partners recognize that there is, next one, if you would please. Southern Tier Partners recognized in the conversation between Jamie and Stacy, they said, hey, we have an opportunity here. And so what they did is they wrote a white paper and put it out there. And the purpose was to put together a plan that would identify and position the region for significant private sector investment in next generation technologies, which includes clean tech manufacturing, clean energy production, supply chain opportunities. They identified targeted sectors, as you can see there, and the assistance needed. And what the assistance needed is for a plan to be put together that would identify, you know, and help us to market actually this region for growth in this field. Kind of piggybacking off of what's going on with the New Energy New York. So the next slide. So Steuben County IDA, you know, leadership put out an RFP, and they received a response to that RFP from Newmark. And I have their packet here. And in that, the strategy of what they would be looking at will be an analysis of clean energy and clean tech industry growth potential in the Southern Tier, creation of a Southern Tier asset inventory for clean energy and clean tech industry, develop a regional SWOT analysis of clean energy and clean tech opportunities. There will be a comprehensive review and cataloging of available industrial sites in the Southern Tier that will include a readiness assessment for the region's most promising sites, and also recommendations for improving the Southern Tier's existing clean energy and clean tech sector growth prospects. So that is what basically Newmark came back and said, this is what, you know, this is what we would focus on in this particular plan. And then the next slide. So the proposal, the Newmark proposal came in at 200,000. Steuben County has committed 50,000 toward that. The agency 50,000. Steuben and Jamie and Stacy will be reaching out to Binghamton University. They've reached out to the other Southern Tier counties, other identified partners for a contribution toward this effort. So it would be a region-wide plan and study that we could be a part of. And so what I'm coming to you tonight is to ask if the IDA would consider making a contribution toward the cost to have this work done. And I strongly believe that it is, we haven't done anything to really market, particularly our Lounsbury properties. We've never really marketed them. And I think there's a huge opportunity here. And I'd really like to be part of the study. And so I'm coming and asking this board if you would consider contributing 25,000 toward this proposal.
Does the board feel that we have the bandwidth to contribute to studies at this point? Would be my question. So
We got 350,000. So
you're recommending,
Yeah, but
we're not making any other money. So your recommended amount is 25,000 as a contributor. I think we,
But it could be anything that you say, that is kind of what I felt comfortable with, given what the others have put in. They recognize that not all counties are going to be able to contribute the same amount. It's Stu Ben and the agency, they have the resources to be able to put more in.
what's your thoughts, folks?
This is Eric. I think it's important that we're part of this, right? Like, I mean, that's one of the deals when we deal with Green County. That sometimes we don't get involved in this stuff and then we get left out of the decision making as it's working for its way forward. So I think we should definitely join the proposal.
Helen, any thoughts?
I don't have any opposition to it at this point.
Okay.
I just have-
And,
Yes,
and
we
that's,
don't-
that's the other
Yes,
thing.
we don't
we
have
don't-
any revenue.
Here's the other thing, they're anticipating a January start date with this, hopefully. If you would rather think on this and come back next month, that's fine. I don't want to push you into any kind of an immediate decision. If you want to think on it a little bit and bring it back in December, that would still give us enough time to participate.
I
but,
wouldn't mind the full board looking at it. I think.
Yeah, let John look at it.
5,000 is a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
It's not over the top,
Yeah, let's,
It's certainly not outside of our.
no, it's,
We haven't
good
done
at this
anything like
point.
this
It's just we haven't had the ability to generate a whole lot of revenue. I thought we're gonna cure that to some degree with rail cars, but how's that going?
Not really moved
Okay.
yet.
so back to this. How about we,
Well, one thing does.
well, there's nothing,
It does.
there's nothing to really table. We've heard a presentation. We'll get,
yeah. and
the
I
other
think
board's input.
get John and Tracy to. take
Yeah,
a look
exactly.
and-
Have them time to, review plans, input. I would put a number in there though for Tioga County IDA is 25,000. Yeah.
Proposal, yeah.
Exactly, because everybody's gonna say, how much are we contributing? So,
So should
I
I,
think that's a good recommended number.
okay. So do we want to send this out to the entire Newmark packet?
To our board.
To the
first, yeah.
everybody, so we can.
And
Yeah.
just
check it
say,
out.
just say Leanne gave this presentation tonight, this is her recommendation.
Okay.
We would like your thoughts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
$1,000 in other ways that
Yeah.
might not bring the 25.
yeah, well, I mean, this would bring more opportunity.
I've been reading the news the last 2 weeks, the car thing is getting a little. Who would have thought that would happen?
Not for me, I haven't pumped gas in 2 years. It's working out pretty well for me.
I read something that said when you plug your car in and charge it, it's about the equivalent if you take the subsidies out of the way of $17.50 a gallon gas, so that should concern all.
You know something, my electric bill hasn't gone up at all.
No, what I'm talking about is all the stuff that's subsidized leading up to your car ownership.
I'm delighted. I'm delighted with my.
It should be.
So we're bringing this back in December, or we're taking an email vote and affirming in December? What is the
Either
pleasure?
way, it's fine with me.
I think I would rather give the opportunity to review it and do an email vote. Because it closes things quicker. I hate waiting for this month in between. It just seems like such a delay all the time to me.
Let them know they're.
Yeah, like nothing's happening and, yeah, exactly. I think we can close a lot more items quickly.
Okay.
So,
Thanks for that question.
Thank you.
Okay.
what's next?
Next up, we have a Business Council quarterly newsletter ad opportunity to be put into their November, December edition and their January, February edition. I had emailed this out to the full board asking if you thought this was a good opportunity to market either one particular site or just market our, our general interest in incentivizing a particular type of business here. I was
So it's 2 editions for 2,000 for a quarter page, correct?
correct, or $6.95 for a 16th page. So just wondering if you want to proceed with that, and if so, what the size would be. I'll pull up the example of what it looks like. They have over 3,500 members that receive this newsletter. So here's just a quick browse of, what it may look like.
It's significant. I think we should go for it, tell you the truth. I'd like to go with a quarter page for 2,000 for 2 editions. I don't know how anybody else feels about it, though. I think it's worth it. Because of the distribution is pretty significant.
Has anybody here received this? Who gets this? 3,500 people that get it, but
EDOs, companies, business leaders throughout the state. It is sent out to all of their members. It's available on their website. Promoted at council
seen it?
events.
Do you know if we get this?
Well, there's a lot of development going up around Syracuse with all the micron. If there was a time to advertise our land, it might be now.
Yeah.
I mean, consistently as they develop that, they're gonna have to do a lot of side businesses.
Maybe something will come out of it for 2 editions. I mean, it's not like we're signing up for a year or something. I don't know.
$2,000 for 2 editions.
$2,000 for 2 quarter
Quarter
page
page
editions
edition.
for $6.95.
$2,000 per edition or two?
No, it's for both.
2 editions.
Correct, for both, or $6.95 to have a 16th page in both.
I guess I'm not opposed to trying it, but generally when you have something like that, somebody who's seen it, somebody understands.
Well, I
where
haven't
it's
seen it in a
going
while,
from.
but I used to,
Look
read
at
for
it.
the chambers and that
Okay.
kind of thing.
Joe, you ever seen that? No, I have.
How did you find out about it, Christine?
We're a business council member. So, and they contacted, their sales contacted me
Yeah.
saying, do you want
Right.
to participate? It's
You'll
completely up to
definitely get a
you.
copy if you participate.
Yeah.
It's definitely, up to you if you wanted what size or if at all. If we proceed, I'll be working with their art director to put together our ad. I was considering either our housing acreage, but it's probably less, I guess, leaning more toward the industrial site than Miles Berry.
Well,
Maybe just-
I pushed the industrial.
Yep, industrial, okay.
Yeah.
And really, to be honest, because I didn't know if you had interest, really, I haven't determined how we're gonna list them out to best visually show, or if we're just gonna pick a best site or 2, or really just not detail the sites particularly, but say what type of business we're.
I think it'd be a nice thing to do. I will entertain a motion for a quarter page, 2 editions, and that's it. Can I have a first?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
How about a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll give it a try. I mean, what the heck? You're not signing up for
We
like
can
a
do stuff like
year,
this.
it's 2 editions.
I remember once you made a book and use an advertising piece. That was a long time ago.
Okay,
If you get the thing, let me know. I'll come look at it.
No, it was all a long time ago.
Okay.
Also,
What's
pick an
next?
Airport and the airline, I don't know.
so next up, Deluge Media. We have a proposal from Deluge Media, who prepared the Team Tioga breakfast video and the recently produced sustainability and recycling videos. Excellent quality. It started because the land bank was pursuing Deluge to spread some of their own marketing. And what resulted was a proposal here for a proposed cost share between sustainability and recycling, economic development, planning, ourselves, and the land bank, to all five pitch in together to purchase videos and photography content to then be shared to our social media. So what it is proposing is, Eric, can you see this deluge?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Yep.
great. So it would be 5 evergreen videos and 31 photos per month for 11 months, and also 1 reel per month. A reel would go on the Instagram. It would content, if paid in full, with 10% discount of $19.05, resulting in a total price of $17,145.
So what benefit does this have to the IDA? I see, Property Development Corporation, Economic Development, Planning, and Sustainability.
Yep, so everybody has a packet here about this. Your first page, it's except you, Eric. The first page is showing you your proposed cost share. And what we're looking to request, we have 2 requests for IDA tonight. One is that you would be willing to pitch in a total of $2,968.18 for the full price. And by that, IDA's photos and reels can focus on whatever we want it to. It can focus on our available properties, I would think would be.
Five ways, isn't it?
Yep, so
Highway left.
our proposed breakdown is, in total, sustainability is pitching in 6,550.
They are.
Sustainability recycling intends to, educate the public on how to properly recycle and the programs that they offer. EDMP, planning, the land bank, and IDA would all contribute funds and also get content highlighting exactly what they're seeking or working on to share on the medias. If that is, I know we haven't gotten a determination from you, but if that would be agreeable, we would also ask IDA to authorize that we would pay the upfront costs to obtain the 10% discount. And then we would invoice these 4 entities their 2023 contribution by the end of the year. We would do all 5 evergreen videos and 1 month of photos and a reel by the end of 2023. They would pay us these amounts back. And then in the beginning of 2024, we would invoice them their contribution for that year. And at the point we receive all the payments, we'd be back to having only contributed under $3,000.
The number's about right. I just entered into a contract with a company out of Windsor that does about the same thing for us for PR. And the number was actually $17,000 for an annual cost and about the same amount of coverage.
Interesting.
Well, if the county's gonna pay for the rest of it, I'm okay with the 2968 from an IDA contribution, but I don't know if this is going to be something that's gonna happen,
It just depends on how you're getting it out there, right? Like, I mean, it's a much better way to market your stuff. I mean, video, but are you gonna get the internet hits on it? I mean, that's the key. If it's part of your marketing strategy, it's a great idea. As long as you're getting that information out. I don't know if it's part of our marketing strategy or we're just gonna put it on a website to set.
I know.
If it's set, then it doesn't matter. It's a waste of time. But if there's some way that we're gonna get it out, then, for $2,500, you get out your 5 videos of your major properties and get your pictures going out there. then that's not a bad strategy.
Just so that I'm certain I understand, are you encouraging us to spread it in addition to posting on Instagram and Facebook, but to also take that content and spread it in other ways? I want to make sure I understand.
Well, we're already advertising on Instagram and Facebook with Team Tioga, so how is this different?
It's the purpose of it is to provide way more content to be posting and sharing.
Yeah, isn't it?
And
isn't
high
it
quality
supposed to be
content.
updated? Now, I don't do either one of these things, so. I'm not an expert on Facebook or any other kind of social media. But, I mean, people are on these, but they walk into each other on the sidewalk looking at their phones. Somebody's using it. Just because I don't care to use it doesn't mean a bad thing. But what do we, if we're doing it now, I mean, we should have some kind of idea of how many times it's been clicked on. I mean, we've been through that before at the state. We had reports on that. When we had the video go out last time, it was attached to all these. social media things.
It was a good question. So
Stop laughing.
right now, the team, we take our own photos. We provide the content to be posted, and the content itself is not, so they say, scroll stopping. So it's not high quality photos. It's not these artistic videos to really capture people's attention. So the goal here is to get Deluge available. He has an office downtown. He can travel throughout the county and take exactly the photos we asked him. Like,
So what is the site? I mean, what is the platform?
it
Where would this
still-
be posted?
Our intent is still the Instagram and Facebooks for the Team Tiogas. And
Videos could go on. All right, if you're doing videos, and then it should be attached, so you. For us old school folks that have websites.
and if I'm leaving anything out, and
Yeah,
Well,
the part of it that I think you might be missing a little bit is the reels. I mean, you're not gonna know what that is, but anybody that's on Facebook, you know what a reel is, right? I mean, it's a,
Exactly.
yeah. So we're not doing any reels now. Reels do get a lot of looks. And so,
Does that
I
translate
have to brush up on
into
that.
anything?
well, it depends on what you're intending. Now, I know at the county level, there's been a lot of discussion about letting the people know what we're doing and kind of, tooting our horn a little bit more. Lots of times they don't know what we're doing. And so, part of the purpose of this is not necessarily marketing sites so much as getting the word out. This is what we work for you. This is what we're doing.
Can't
And
they just
making
watch
people
these
aware.
meetings since they're live?
Yeah.
Thrilling meeting.
I don't think Team Tioga gets a lot of play, to tell you the truth. I mean,
I
you get
think-
like 5 likes or 5 views on an item. It's like,
In my expert social media opinion,
Okay, if I.
three,
I don't wanna.
Hang on.
Brittany would like to share something.
Brittany,
I'm just, so from the land bank's perspective, we don't really have that. We are doing, like you guys are doing a ton of great projects and people have no idea that we're involved in them. Like 437 Front Street, I know everyone's driving by saying that looks great, and they don't know that the land bank had anything to do with saving that house, repairing the foundation, making those community connections. So it's hard for me with land bank. I do have my economic development job, I do the land bank. It's hard for me to get out and take pictures and to do the videos. And if I do, I don't have that artistic eye. So it's gonna be my grainy iPhone photos that don't really tell a story. So that's kind of where I started, I started talking with Deluge saying, hey, like, what can you put together for us? We had this giant package of things that was like, oh, I don't need 30 photos a month, but maybe I need 5 or 6, and maybe, and that's when we started talking about pulling all these, because everybody has those projects, EDP, the IDA, you guys have, even the water tank, I don't think anyone knows the support that went into that.
I'm trying to get that.
the legislature, have you brought this forward to the legislature?
So the land bank is
From a
separate,
county perspective.
the land bank is separate from the county and the legislature, so I would approach my board with that. We actually, in our budget, in the last month, for the first time, put funds in our budget to support this kind of effort. So my next meeting is November 30th, so now that I have an official proposal, I'll go back to the board. It's within what we budgeted for it, so I think the board was open to it. I can't speak for the other agencies, but.
Okay, I would make a motion that we would jump all over this, our percentage of it. As long as you get your money back, you can do whatever you want.
Well, as long as the other entities come up with the rest of the funds.
Correct.
Everybody would have to agree.
I have no problem contributing the two
You talked me
thousand.
right into
Whatever.
it. I came with some photographs and stuff I did all in earlier. And a reel.
If we're a contributor, I have no problem with it, if everybody else is on board. So I
Yeah, I'd
will,
just like to say, can we tie this together, Christine, under a marketing strategy?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it just seems like we're just kind of shooting things out. Hey, I saw
Yeah.
this today. Hey, I saw this. I don't want to be the negative Nelly on it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's something we should do. But overall marketing strategy, what demographic are we trying to get to? Are we trying to say, hey, we're doing all these projects, we're really good? Are we trying to bring business back into our community? You know what I mean? Are we
Yeah.
doing both? So we just have basically when somebody says, hey, what are you doing with all this stuff? Well, here's our marketing strategy. This is why we're doing what we're doing.
Yep.
Can we do that?
Yes.
Awesome.
And is it for a year?
Yes.
So it's.
11 months.
The rest of this year and next year? Is that what we're looking at? Cause it's got 23 and 24.
The video is all by the end of this year and then the rest of the stuff
Yeah.
going forward. Is that correct?
Correct. We will do all the 5 evergreen videos and 1 month of photos and real content,
Yeah, I mean, you've only got
November, and then we'll
less
do
than 2
December.
months with all the holidays and such to get anything
Right.
done this year.
Have it.
So,
oh, things are getting
start-
crazy right now.
start
So you're
prepping
gonna
for
take,
next year.
so the photos means you're actually gonna have the photos taken?
Yes, he's gonna take 31 photos every month. At whatever we have.
That, are you gonna be involved? Oh, I see. There's
Part of
photos
this-
in 24 too. Okay.
Yeah, part of his proposal is that he meets with us every month and with our social media consultant every month.
Okay. Yeah,
If the
everybody's gotta
IPA
say
is
yes.
contributing, I'd like to be part of that, if you wouldn't mind. Just to see, what's going forward. Thank you. I'm seeking a motion to be a contributor to this effort.
Can we just?
Yeah.
Because the other part of that was agreement to upfront the funds. Is that's agreeable?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yes,
I'd make, the mo-
That would be a motion to authorize the MOU. That we gotta tie it all.
okay.
So seeking a motion to authorize spending 17,145.
You're paying the whole bill upfront.
Correct.
Then these entities have to pay the IDA.
Correct.
But have they agreed to do that?
Well, I will not cut a
No,
check.
no, I mean, you
until
wouldn't
they
do it
contribute.
unless, you couldn't do it unless, so.
this is all contingent upon
Resolve the whole thing.
Say again?
Put a signature line for all the entities.
Yeah, but I want to make sure that it's written here for history that the IDA paid the bill up front,
Okay. We'll add
and then
that.
the other, and so then the agencies agreed to do this because you're paying it up front,
Okay,
and we're paying you.
It's
and we know-
contingent, yes.
I got you.
But I want it in writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
needs to be in writing.
What the hell a reel is.
The one, the wheel.
Fishing, just think about fishing. Okay, so, I did have a first. How about a second?
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on.
Okay.
We still need to talk about the interlopers, so let's go.
Keep it moving.
Barbara. Keep it moving.
Just for record, based on John Ward's input, I'm researching cashing in our CD, some of our CDs early, the penalty's very low and we're shopping rates. So more on that to come. Regarding loan analysis training, John advised Risk Management Association would be a good provider for my training. I looked it up. They have some online self-directed courses. They have a plethora of options. I checked with John. He recommended I start out signing up for Analyze Personal Financial Statements and Tax Returns, which would teach me to locate data on the personal financial statements, identify and fill gaps on the personal financial statement, calculate net worth adjustments and determine potential repayment sources, construct a personal cash flow. Anticipated completion time 2.5 hours. This would cost the IDA $349. The second one, using tax returns to analyze the borrower. It would teach me to identify specific tax forms needed in order to evaluate the business loan request, find information needed about the borrower from their tax returns, identify additional information needed to process the loan application, explain how rules for reporting income differ from financial statement rules. And this would take approximately 1.75 hours and would cost the IDA $225. So I'm seeking permission to sign up.
I give you permission and we don't need to vote on it because it's less than $1,000.
Okay, onward. Thank you. We have, last month, we spoke about our dwindling loan funds, and it was recommended that perhaps the facade loan funds, which originated from StreetEck, that StreetEck would allow us to open that fund up to remain available for facade loans, but also to support our small business loan program under the same guidelines we currently work by. So George Miner at StreetEck is tentatively open to the idea. He's working on the paperwork to bring forward to his board to approve that change, so that we have approximately $240,000 in that fund. It would give us some availability for loan disbursements in the time being. Any question? Okay. Railroad committee update. I did go to those meetings on the 17th and 18th with RJ Corman. The first day we had CIG Logistics, a transload company, was considering utilizing the Owego site to move their freight. I joined CIG and RJ Corman folks to go tour 2 more sites that RJ Corman also services in Wailusa and Waisak. Both facilities much more presentable and usable than ours. One was a big dirt yard, one was paved. Ours is overgrown. We have no scale. I've never seen it before, but it needs a lot of work. And also we have a lot of vacant buildings there that we do not own them. The RJ Corman owns it, but it's there. All of it could be something down the road. So
That yard was part of the sale from Steve May to RJ Corman.
that's my understanding.
That the old pipe yard. That's not an IDA thing.
Correct.
So if RJ Corman wants somebody in there, RJ Corman's got to spit the place up.
Yeah. Okay. So no,
I've never been on, I was on site 40 years ago.
So don't put a lot of thought or time into helping them with that, then.
Well, I don't think it's our place to get involved. I mean, if we had to get involved to some kind of loan of some sort to spruce it up to get an entity put in there, why would it be any different than any other business in town?
Okay,
You know, if they brought something to us, yeah, I think we'd take a look, wouldn't we? It wouldn't be any different than any other business.
okay. So perhaps we could apply some pressure for them to get a scale there and cut the weeds and things
Scale's
like
easy
that. I
enough.
mean,
They can put a scale on top of the ground. They're
Yeah.
portable scales that are fine. And
okay,
I'm sure it had a scale there when they were bringing all that product in.
yeah,
You
we
know,
found,
they weren't sending that sand out, not weighed, so it might even been on the bins.
we found the old concrete pad it used to sit on. It was just disappointing. CIG seemed to have some interest and was gonna send me some specs on, but they never followed through, which leads me to think they just, they went with the easier location and
Well, there were two pipe yards, I think, in Wysox, Wyalusing, there were pipe yards, so they've recently been leveled and cleaned and,
yeah.
you know.
Just-
One I think has a new building on it, even if I'm thinking of the right site.
Okay,
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, nothing's gonna happen there unless it is presentable, or it can be made presentable. But, people buy old beat up houses all the time and renovate, so this is, buildings, what could go wrong?
one of them has a heavy,
Crane,
yeah, thank you. Well, onward, I won't waste too much time, we have a big agenda. And the 18th,
one more thing, is Corman, will Corman sell the yard? Are they entertaining anything? Did they have any idea what they might do with it in the future? That's really, it's
I
probably
didn't
one of
ask.
the better sites in our community.
It could be some things. I didn't ask if they'd open,
Yeah, so is half the town.
I didn't ask. I can find out. Any other thoughts? Okay. Sorry. I totally lost my train of thought.
I've been so cold all day, I don't even know this. I've been freezing all day.
Well, we'll keep working together. We'll see
Used
what
to,
comes
yeah.
of it. If I think of something important, I'll email. Corporate drive repairs were being pushed by Weissman for months. I kept bugging RJ, it's done. Onward. We have a Best Bev LLC. If you recall, in August, we approved an increase for them. The increase was 1,257,391 in sales tax exemption to bring them to a total of 1,619,751. I just received their latest report and they are over. They're at 1,642, so they're above. So I asked them to write you another letter of request explaining this overage and once again estimating what they need to complete the project. So their letter is requesting, they're stating. To date, they spent over $20 million. Well, this is important job creation. In July, they let us know in their letter that they're anticipating now 160 jobs. Now they're anticipating 210 jobs, so 50 more jobs since we approved their increase in August.
Yeah, but when we last spoke about this, they were talking about moving something from Pennsylvania to this facility if things worked out. So that could be the increase right there.
Could be.
We don't care where the increase comes from, as long as we get it, right? So it'd be interesting to know if that's where it came from, or if they're just growing, because
Okay. All right.
either one's good for us.
It's a monster. That building is a monster.
Have they
It's
actually
huge.
hired
But Leanne, have you been down there lately?
I have. Very
I
impressive.
went down there a week ago. That's crazy. Yeah, so
How
I
many
bet they're
people are
probably gonna
employed
close that
now?
plant down outside of Wilkes-Barre. Be my guess.
The last I knew Kevin, they were at 50, but I'm sure it's increased from that.
Mhm.
Clearly more.
Okay, so they're on trajectory to
So what they're asking for now is an increased sales tax exemption in the amount of $622,314.88, which would bring us up to a total exemption of $2,242,066. And I'm seeking a motion to approve a resolution authorizing this same.
I'll make the motion.
How about a second?
second.
All in favor?
Or
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. All the other companies continue to submit their reports and they're all within their authorized limits. We have a Legal Gardens 2 update. Robinson did come back and completed their outstanding items. They're done. I'm pushing to pay them as soon as we can. I'm just waiting for Veolia to give a final okay that they feel good about it. About the final punch list items. And then I did not put the comparison with the original budget and the projected final expenses together in time for today, so I'll email that out to you.
Before we jump down, you know, the road still has not been transferred legally. I don't know.
Marty, there's a rumor that you're gonna plow that with your plow truck, Marty.
Well, Gary
You got that.
Hammond says we don't have to plow it because we do not officially own it. And I don't know if it's still in Peter's office.
So that is,
Well,
that's between
did it.
Pete and Home Leasing's attorney.
I know,
And they
but
got it.
we transferred it to home
On
lease.
that road, I mean, you know, it's showing
we
today.
get complaints, you're getting complaints, and I don't know if it's sitting in Peter's office. You think it is?
He has the contact information for Home Leasing's attorney. He's had it for months. I don't know if she's not getting back to him. But he has Megan Hooper's number, who is a co-owner of Home Leasing. Who is Megan Hooper? She can push her attorney. And so he has all the contacts that he needs. And he's had for months.
Who is gonna end up plowing the road? The town?
Village of
Village.
Owego,
Okay, the village.
but it can't happen until we own it and we give it to them. And then we have to do it. Yeah, it's, no offense, but attorneys drag their feet, no offense. I know you would never do that. But, or would you?
Well,
And I'll go back
Is there
course
some, is there some way that like all entities can get in the room? and, like shake hands and say,
You know,
yes, we'll take care of our obligations? So
no,
that the people on the hill are not,
That's what I would do.
This-
I would schedule a conference with Pete and Megan and Connie. And
But
get them
this
all
has been
engaged
a torturous,
and constant.
and it's not between us any. And we,
No,
but
but
how
I'm
much
just
time, wait,
looking for help.
1 second. How much time did we spend having conferences, getting all those people together to get our
Easement?
things, the easements transferred?
Ridiculous.
It was an absolute insane amount of time. And this has been a year and a half since we transferred that to home leasing.
Off the top of my head, I've
And,
got.
we have no leverage at this point.
Yeah,
No,
we're,
I know, I was just trying to figure out
oh, yeah.
how
But we have no
to
leverage.
take care of it on our end.
And
We
I'll
really
email
shouldn't
you.
be hosting a meeting between their attorneys.
No, no.
No, I'm not asking, I've got
No,
her county, I got my
I
county.
know
hat.
that, but Pete's gotta.
I know.
I'll just
All right.
But I
email
don't
you.
like trying to who are the people that I have.
cattle crowd out. I won't.
Are
host
OFA
it.
buses
Already
going up there now?
So if you push them too hard, you know, it goes to the bottom of
must
the pile. Let's see.
That's why I haven't called.
No,
No, don't
But, you know.
do it.
Salt.
Are buses going up there?
Oh, yeah. Well, Gary will plow it, but he's just, you know,
I'll email you all those cons, I'll.
just give me the data and I will go over.
Okay. Let's move forward,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, the state of emergency and all the other stuff I'm waiting on.
Okay. Both the Richford Railroad study and the Raymond Halley Water study are projected to be completed by the year end by Larson Design Group. And they're moving on it, so. Those are in good standing. The ARC grant for the two 40,000 square foot buildings. Took us a while to get here. Quick reminder, Larson Design Group provided their original proposal to do this work for us in July 2022. We were awarded the ARC grant and entered into that grant May 2023. At that time, I asked them to start moving on the study. In July 2023, they hadn't done that yet. I said it's a good thing because ARC said you need 2 more bids on file for their procurement policy satisfaction. So we went ahead and we got those bids. In August 2023, this board authorized me to award it to Larson as the lowest bidder. This month in October, Larson came back and said they don't want to take on the study. I have an explanation here of why if you want to hear it. Otherwise, I'll move on. for
They're
time's
out.
sake.
Move
Yeah,
on.
they're done. So I'm seeking board direction. I discussed it with Leanne. There are options. Do you want to go ahead and enter a contract with the next lowest bidder? Which, considering the fact that Hunt 75,000 does not provide geotech, which is, we really need that. And they also don't provide bid documents, that makes them the highest bidder. So the other 2 to consider are Delta for 98,000, which would be 45,900 more expense from IDA because the grant amount will not increase. They're paying 26,050 regardless. So if we went with Delta, you'd be paying 45,900 more. If we went with Fagan at 80,000, you'd be paying 27,900 more. So option 1 is select one of them and we'll pay that greater amount. The other option could be that we go back to these bidders and we take a hard look at scope and try to take some unnecessary or least necessary things out. And ask them to tell us what they would provide us for the original price. And option 3 would be, don't do the study at all. So those are,
This is for the property that we're not sure we have enough electric on to do anything with in the first place, correct?
this is the Buck Road 9.6 acres. It's not right there yeah. There is definitely electric capacity. How much is in question?
Because Jason Ellis was here and explained the electrical, and he can't get an answer on the electrical. We were looking at it for another reason. What was that reason? Or was it this particular reason? The electric itself.
It was at the time, it was to try to get a handle on a breakdown of how much total capacity was there. And then so we'd understand as we move companies into our lands and they take some, how much is left for the others.
Right.
But it unfortunately wasn't able to determine that.
Didn't we work with some of these people and Weaver Gardens too and said we would not work with them again?
Fagan is the one that you all said many times you'll not work with again.
There you go.
So that's what I expect.
Then you have that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
No.
Easier.
That
Now,
note
did you
there.
get a chance to look at these bids?
Did I?
Yeah,
No, I did.
I went through them. Nobody had bid docs in there. They're all extra on the side. I just like to take a real close. I mean, I spent about half an hour on them. I
okay,
mean, I'd like to spend a little more time on these 3 and
okay,
just really see what the difference is. I've got 6 construction guys at the other end of my building right now, so I can ask some decent questions.
okay.
And the other thing is, one of the things that I think you gotta be careful with, we ran into with the last project is the FTE or the NT rather, the not to exceed. So when we put a number on a contract with these guys, they can't just go over it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as it's in their scope. Keeping them, holding them to an NTE contract, I try to do that on all of ours. So there's no surprises, because if you don't, there's always extra drawings that all of a sudden they
Yep.
need.
Yep.
Can we get that? I mean, do we have to accept these right now, or can we accept them at the December meeting?
Oh, we could certainly decide this later. It's,
So
Yeah.
I'd like to get together with maybe, I don't care, anybody else who wants to do, maybe one or another person, maybe do a subcommittee and just have us go through these, because I'd really like to make sure we get the right guy or gal or whoever. So
Okay.
we feel comfortable with them.
okay,
I mean, I've had problems with Hunt in the past, but they do Corning, Elmira, and they do, horse heads, and they've had great success with them. I mean, my issues were 10 years ago, maybe things have changed.
thanks
you
for
know,
offering
and
to
it's
help.
so big, and what we've had is big, and I've never dealt with Delta.
Anybody have recommendation on the other member to help Eric and I? On that, maybe John Ward?
Sure, he's not here, whenever, you know.
Sign him up.
All right, done.
For John, oh dear, that's all right.
No, done. Good. Okay. Thanks very much. Water tank money's in, yay. And checked in with USDA because we still haven't heard back, and Reed Brook meets, they responded, they said they had so many applications, hang tight for a few more weeks and they'll let us know. So that's all I have.
That's so many applications.
I forget, the number was sky high. So that's all. Executive.
How about a motion to move to executive session?
I'd make that motion.
How about a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Hold on.
You want me to do things?
Mhm.
You want me to